With the summer lockdown over, I was visited by my eldest son Henry for a few days. We thought the Montgomery Canal would be a good antidote to London life. A lockie helped us through the Frankton staircase locks. You need to pre-book your passage through. Unknown to us, the passage times have now changed, and they are now 9 o'clock until 12 o'clock. I received a call at 12:15 and I told them that we would be there in 15 minutes. We were very grateful that they hung on for us. At Frankton Junction was a wharf, crane and stables. Adjacent to the top lock was the toll house manned by a clerk. This building was the lockkeeper's cottage, and on the other side was the Canal Tavern. After the double staircase there are 2 more locks. The 4 locks drop you down almost 31 foot in total. If it's peace and tranquility you're after, this is the canal for you. Built mainly to transport agricultural products like timber, bone meal and lime to balance soil acidity. It was funded mainly by local landowners to improve yields, productivity and market availability. We pulled in to what was once the western branch to fill with water and empty the rubbish. That sky is looking rather ominous. The western branch was closed in 1917, and today this is all that remains. It was intended to connect the Ellesmere Canal to the River Severn at Shrewsbury. The final 11 miles, however, were never completed. Henry expertly reverses Reverie back onto the main line. From Frankton Junction, only the first 7 miles are navigable. A further 5 miles are under restoration to join the 12.5 miles of navigable canal further south. Much of the canal is a site of scientific special interest and contains rare aquatic plant species and also rare insect life, which in turn supports shoals of bream and roach and pike, carp and tench. Approaching Perry Aqueduct, there are moorings for 2 boats, and I have a bit of banter with a viewer.
Hello there, you alright? Yeah, pretty good. Good stuff. Nice bit of canal. It is, isn't it? Lovely. You're not going far from the city this time, are you? What? You're not going far from the city this time, are you? Oh, I am. You're probably sitting there, I'm probably calling you tea or beer or whatever it is.
There was a serious breach here in 1936. The canal owners didn't think it viable to pay the £400 repair bill, and 7 years later the Monty was officially abandoned. It's advisable to moor only at designated mooring spots. You should not moor against gabion baskets such as here, nor on the reed beds. Oops, mind the trees. At the time of filming, the Monty was extremely overgrown, but I suspect this could be because we had just come out of lockdown. I think I'm right in saying that only 12 boats are allowed on the canal at any one time, and there's a maximum stay of 14 days. That bleak sky has now been replaced by patches of blue, and the sun is beginning to peep through. Heath House is coming up. This was once a busy transshipment dock. Express flyboats stopped here, travelling between Ellesmere and Newtown. A flag hung from the eaves of the wharf would signal that there were goods to be collected. The boaters were, I guess, the white van men of their day. A wharf once stood here on the left. The brick and timber frame building ahead was a wharf and passenger terminal. Between 1852 and 1853, the Wolverhampton Swift Packet Boat Company operated a passenger service from here, connecting Redknall railway station to the station in Newport. The 32 miles and 22 locks could be travelled in 5 hours 12 minutes. Now, to many of you this may seem implausible, but there were specially designed boats which had priority on the canal and were pulled by 2 horses, one in front of the other. The horse teams were changed during the trip. The rear horse had a rider and the front one was blinkered. The horses could pull the boats at speeds of between 10 and 12 miles per hour. They could manage this because at 8 miles an hour the boat begins to ride its own bow wave, making towing easier. Looks like we've picked up a hitchhiker, a common blue damselfly. We are now approaching Queen's Head, which is the base for Shropshire paddle sports, and we'll see more of them later. There are few road bridges transversing the Monty. These two carry the B5009 and the busy A5, the longest road in Britain. We've arrived at Aston Locks, a flight of 3, dropping 18 feet. There's a nature reserve to the right of the locks, which is the habitat for some of the rarest aquatic plant species in the world. I work the locks and Henry brings Reverie through. A bit of father-son chit-chat going on as the boat drops a nominal distance on the bottom lock. There were several boneworks along the Monty. Cattle bones were boiled and stripped of fat and tissue and marrow and transported to Port Sunlight to make soap. The residual bones were ground for fertiliser. Coming into Masbury Marsh, or Masbury Marsh, which I suspect is the correct pronunciation. A quintessential canal village. The Navigation Inn is here on the right. There were also stables, boatmen's cottages and a dock. Its importance was because it was the nearest part of the canal to the market town of Oswestry. The services on the right have a water point and, I'm led to believe, excellent showers. Do you suppose Rosie is the most common boat name? Bridge 80 takes you to Canal Central. Horse-drawn trips can be taken on board Countess. We slow to tick over to pass the Angler, with Crofts Mill lift bridge up ahead. Henry leaps off to get some exercise, while I make a complete hash of steering. Now, according to Nicholson's, there's a winding hole just south of the lift bridge. But no, we were told in no uncertain terms that this wasn't it. It is, in fact, a few hundred yards further on. Go on, Dad, give us a twirl. Maybe not. Because of time constraints, we had to wind about a mile from the end of the navigable northern section. Come on, lad, you'll have to do it faster than that. Phew, just in time, eh? The Berwyn and Breathen Hills loom over to the west, and the lurcher has clearly done enough for today. Just west of here, in 1865, there was a railway disaster, which killed 12 passengers. More Boggland, common in this area. If you would like to support the restoration of this tranquil canal, either as a volunteer or to make a financial donation, please visit the Shropshire Union Canal Society website. I'll leave a link in the description box. Now, I've been overtaken by cyclists and runners before, and even walkers, but never by canoeists. Not one, not two, but 3 of them. Whilst cruising past Rednall Basin, there was a fisherman, so we slowed down for the fisherman like we always do. We slowed down to tick over. This guy had 3 rods in the canal. Now, as he saw us in plenty of time, and he removed 2 of the rods, but one of the rods, the really long one, he left in the canal. Now, of course, his line got entangled with my propeller, which he seemed to blame me for, and he started taking photographs of my boat. So it is now my job to go down into the weed hatch and disentangle the remains of his fishing line. I hope you've enjoyed our trip down the Monty. Please hit like, subscribe, notification bell, etc. And hopefully I'll see you next time.